Yeah, they'll do it. Yeah, they'll do it. Yeah, they usually start the parade when they think about 2 minutes. They wind down.
Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Orlando. I'm Sarah Gray, a member of this congregation here and the worship team here at 1U. With me in today's service are worship leader Karen Ramberg, board president Greg Buckingham, my daughters Lily and Savannah Gray, our director of music Aubrey Connelly-Candelario, and accompanist Danny Monzon Villegas. Reverend Margalie Belizaire will return to worship on August 25th. And let's not forget our teams of wonderful people in the background working diligently to ensure that we come together this morning. So thank you. Yes, I heard a woohoo, I love it. Children will go to their summer fun activities when we sing them out for Time for All Ages. The nursery is open until noon, and youth are invited to remain in the sanctuary for the worship service. We greet you this morning, old friends and new ones, as we explore our Unitarian Universalist faith, which draws us into a community of justice seekers with a commitment to lifelong spiritual growth and compassionate service to the community. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we are a non-creedal community that does not subscribe to a specific set of beliefs. We live by a covenant that encourages ethical behavior, affirms democracy, celebrates the worth of each individual, and unites us in a search for truth and meaning. Whether today is your first or your 1,000th Sunday in our midst, you are welcome here. Whoever you are, whoever you love, you are welcome here. In this community, your whole self is welcome. We welcome your race, national origin, immigration status, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental abilities, economic status, or religious background. We welcome you. For more information about our congregation and announcements, go to orlandouu.org or email info@orlandouu.org. We have several announcements today. First, we are seeking worship attendants to read announcements like this, assist with candle lighting, and engage in other scripted low-stakes tasks. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Sign up, preview the order of service and instructions in advance, and arrive early on your assigned dates. So you can contact me, Elizabeth Horn, or Neil Boris to learn more. On Sunday, August 18th from 12:30 to 2 p.m., join us for a worship hive mind open to all. In this energizing, process-oriented discussion, we'll reflect on upcoming worship themes, brainstorm readings, music, and more. We'll convene in the assembly room after potluck on Sunday the 18th. Childcare will be provided. From Religious Enrichment, registration for children's religious enrichment classes is now open. Please see the weekly update or the RE update for a link to the registration page, or come by the RE table during coffee hour. We are excited to announce starting next week, children's choir will start rehearsing. If your child is in the 2nd grade or higher and they're interested in participating, please indicate this on the registration form. Next Sunday is the blessing of the backpacks. So all students or anyone starting the academic year are invited to participate in this ritual in which the congregation reminds you that they have your back. Finally, keep in mind that the weather conditions right now are changing. While we're not anticipating a problem, please keep an eye on the 1U website and social media for information about campus closures this week. All other announcements are on slides before and after the service and have links in the weekly update or on our website. If you would like to follow along to the service, please use the QR code shown in the monitor and on the first few slides. Thanks again for being here in person and online today.
Please say these words with me as we light the chalice. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Please rise in body or spirit to join me in singing the Spirit of Life, the which will appear on the screen above.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life.
Our call to worship this morning comes from Richard Wagamies. Is what I'm choosing moving me closer to the Creator or farther away? Is what I'm choosing moving me closer to the highest, grandest expression of who I am or further away? Is what I'm choosing moving me closer to my brothers and sisters in my human family or further away? Is what I'm choosing serving me? When I can answer yes to these questions, my choosing becomes an act of ceremony, and I move closer to my real, essential self. Now please greet one another.
If I could have all the children and those young at heart who would like to participate come join me on the carpet for a story. All right, so today I'm going to share with you the story of the monkeys and the Bodhi tree. Long ago, in another time and place, there lived a wise monkey mother. She and her many children made their home in the branches of the Bodhi tree, where many years later, the Buddha would take his seat and awaken to the truths of this life. This wise monkey had many children. She couldn't say how many because they would never sit still long enough for her to count them. Could relate to that. No, just kidding. I've just got the two. One day, as they played in the great tree, swinging from branch to branch among the heart-shaped leaves, she decided it was time to teach them a lesson. My children, she called to them, I am not getting any younger, and neither are you. It is time that I told you about the ways of the world so you can start to take care of your old mother and to take care of yourselves when the time comes. The young monkeys turned their little faces to listen to her. Let me ask you something, my children. Why should we work so hard to gather fruit from the trees of the forests? Our neighbors get up at dawn to gather fruit. Why don't we sleep a little later and gather our fruit from them? I have seen humans take things from one another. All you need to do is hide behind a tree when you see another monkey coming out with his arms full of fruit. Jump out from behind the tree, take him by surprise, and bring the fruit back here to share with your family. But mother, what if we get caught? Asked one of the older children. Just be sure to do it when no one is looking, replied their mother, and wear a mask so you won't be recognized. This sounded like great fun, a new adventure for the mischievous monkeys, and right away they scampered down to the ground and scattered into the forest to gather broad leaves to make masks that would cover their faces. Only one little monkey, the youngest, stayed behind. What is it, my child? Why not scurry off with your brothers and sisters and do as I've asked you to do? Mother, you know that I love you and trust you. You have done so much for me that I would do anything you ask. But I don't understand what you say. What don't you understand, my little one? You told us that we should steal fruit from our neighbors when no one is looking. But that is impossible, he said. His mother's heart stirred a little. Why is it impossible? Because no matter what I do, even if no one else is around to see me. I can see me." The mother tilted her head back and laughed, gathering her youngest child into her arms. "You alone have understood my lesson." The monkey mother, who would one day be reborn as the Buddha, called all her other children, and they sat beneath the Bodhi tree as she shared the story with them. They looked at each other sheepishly, and one by one patted their young brother on the back. The Bodhi tree smiled down upon the monkey family as the mother told her children, "Always try to do the right thing, even when no one else is watching. You are always watching." All right. If everyone could join our hands in a loving arch to as we sing our children out to their activities.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. I'm Greg Buckingham, and I serve on the Board of Trustees. And we invite you now into the practice of generosity. It is one of our spiritual values, which sustains the life and ministries of the church community. Let us be grateful for the opportunity to give, for it is a privilege to be able to do so, and let us be grateful for our needs, for they give us the opportunity to practice receiving. Our Share the Plate recipient for the month of August is Shepherd's Hope, and Steph Garber is here to tell us a little bit about this organization.
Hi, I'm Steph Garber. I've been a member of the church since 2002, and that was about the same year that I got passionate about Shepherd's Hope. When I moved here, I called up Rollins Philanthropy Department, and I asked them, I'd like to find charities both to give to, but also to volunteer to. They gave me several names. I went over and met Shepherd's Hope, and I was impressed. I still am, which is why I nominated them to be one of our Share the Plate recipients. They provide free health care for the uninsured, and there are a lot of uninsureds. 47% of those that go to get help at Shepherd's Hope are employed but do not have insurance. They also cannot apply or receive, I should say, government funds through various programs because they make more than 200% of poverty level. Poverty level this year in Florida is $25,800 for a family of 3. If you figure what you're going to do with a family of 3 on $25,000, you let me know. Twice that's $50,000. It's still not enough money to be able to afford the kind of health care people need. So Shepherd's Hope provides primary health care through 4 of their clinics around the Orlando area. They're provided by more than 2,700 licensed medical and patient services volunteers. You're sitting in this room with some. This might be a doctor, a physician assistant, it might be a nurse, and then there are people like me that have no medical skills, but there are things that need to be done. Welcoming these patients who may be coming to help for the first time in their life can be very moving for them. Since 1997, when they opened their doors, they've provided more than 310,000 patient visits. And currently, there are 2,700 licensed medical and general volunteers, which I mentioned, but they also have community hospitals that provide diagnoses and provide x-rays, MRIs, whatever might be needed in that end. They also have multi-faith partners that provide not only money, but also many of the volunteers. GuideStar is awarded at their platinum level, which is the highest level of transparency for how their money is used. I'll tell you a little story to end with, and think about this story when you think about if Shepherd's Hope can benefit from the funds that you can give today, because I know it will. There was a young woman in her 20s that came into one of the clinics with her 5-year-old son. She had had a lump in her breast. She didn't know what to do, so she didn't do anything, which is a lot of times what happens, meaning that by the time they arrive at our doors, things are much worse than they might have been had they been able to get medical help quickly, like you and I can most times. And after the appointment, the lady came out, and then the volunteer came out. And the volunteer nurse that had met with her looked awful. And one of the other volunteers said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "Telling a woman she has stage 4 breast cancer in front of her son is so difficult." But Shepherd's Hope doesn't let go of you there. Shepherd's Hope then has a case manager that works with her to get her what she'll need, and they'll get it to you with great kindness. Thank you for thinking to give to Shepherd's Hope, and if you don't know me, I have a tremor, so I am not nervous talking to you. I'm just shaking because I have a tremor. Thank you very much.
The offering will now be collected, and you can also give by the link.
This morning we're singing Meditation on Breathing for the offertory. I will start you off with everyone just singing the words, breathe in, breathe out. Danny and I will slowly add things in. If you choose to sing what we're adding in, that's great, but if you can also just keep singing, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Let us joyfully receive what is offered here today in the spirit of gratitude and fellowship.
This is the time we set aside for prayer and meditation. If you have a sorrow that you need witnessed or help with, or have a joy you wish to share, please contribute to our collective sharing of joys and sorrows to be read each Sunday during worship. You can send an email to joysandsorrows@orlandouu.org. If you are attending in person, you can fill out a card at the registration table and hand to an usher before the start of the service. And after the meditation, we will call you to participate in our candle lighting ritual. Bring your joys and your sorrows as we come together. Come as you are. Your whole self is welcome in this sacred space we are creating together. So, joys and sorrows from 1U. From Kathy Hamlet, first, a huge thanks to the crew of cleaners and declutterers who tackled 1U campus cupboards yesterday. Check out the table of treasures that you are welcome to take home. So let's clear that table today. From Michael Lewis, grateful that my mother Nancy will be coming home from rehab after 3 months following a broken ankle in 2 places. Bev Allig is in ORNC for tests currently, so cards are welcome. Jim DeLure asked us to hold Arlene in our hearts. She's in the hospital with low blood pressure and other symptoms. Linnea reports that her surgery was successful and she's in recovery as expected. She thanks you all for so many kind check-ins and well wishes. Kitty Sherman says, I wanted to send an update and ask for thoughts, prayers, vibes, and/or well wishes. I went to the ER on Wednesday and was admitted for gallbladder issues and surgery for removal. Surgery went well, and I am still recovering. My partner is taking excellent care of the baby, and my mom is taking great care of me. Thanks in advance for any healing energy sent in my direction. Sending love and light to you all. Peg Spellman asks for thoughts and prayers for her sister Mary, who will be having surgery this Wednesday. Today's flowers were brought to you by Joan Irwin to remind everyone that early voting starts tomorrow in 22 locations in Orange County and continues daily until August 18th. We continue to hold our Orlando families in love, our communities with care, and the world with our compassion by acting for justice in all of the small and large ways that will move the arc of justice. And for all the joys and sorrows of this community shared today and for those close to our hearts, let's pray, let's celebrate, and let's send each other healing energy.
I now invite us into meditative prayer with these words from Sam Trumbore. Let us turn inward now. Feel the rhythm of the breath, in and out, in and out. Find the peace of just being with the flow of the breath, letting go of yesterday and tomorrow. Feel the restorative power of the peace of this moment, a peace large enough to open to the concerns and sorrows that trouble us, a stillness quiet enough to respond to the joys and celebrations that enliven us. There is safety here in the rhythm of the breath. The ebb and flow of life is enacted with each one. Taking in oxygen sustenance, letting go of carbon dioxide waste, taking in the fullness of experience, letting go of the residue that wants to cling to us. Cultivate inner peace and inner safety in this sanctuary, dedicated to cultivating the spirit of life, dedicated to being a beacon of love for all beings. You are now invited to come forward this morning and light a candle of remembrance, loving kindness, or hope. Our first candle will be lit to recognize the joys and sorrows of our online community, and the last candle to recognize the unspoken joys and sorrows of the people in our sanctuary.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain, singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
Good morning. Today I hope to take you on a journey both physical and spiritual. I am by nature and training a scientist, and therefore the intellectual aspects of the Unitarian Universalist tradition appeal to me. But I was always very skeptical of this spiritual stuff. I mean, I couldn't touch it, I couldn't see it, and I definitely couldn't measure it. So that was fine for those who were interested, but it wasn't what called to me. Until. Perhaps it was getting older and retiring and having more time on my hands. Maybe it was the loss of my mother. Or maybe it was the 2016 election. But anyway, I decided it was time that I wanted to understand myself more deeply and my place in the world and the world more deeply. I was so fortunate that at the time I was going through this moment of seeking enlightenment, that Wellspring was brought to this community. And if you will excuse the expression, it was a godsend. Wellspring was tremendous and so enlightening. And I started to recognize that I had actually been on this spiritual journey my entire life. From personal experience I had had as a child, as a young adult, and as an adult, I just hadn't recognized it or put it in those terms. And Wellspring was so instrumental in helping me see this and put it together and seek further understanding of what spirituality is. They also helped me listen to my inner voice. And part of the Wellspring program is they encourage you to get a spiritual advisor, which I did. A wonderful woman, she's a UU minister, and I continue with her in as my spiritual guide, even though I'm not currently involved in a Wellspring program. Some time ago, I told my advisor about a trip I was planning. And the trip included a visit to Angkor Wat. It's a temple complex in Cambodia. It is considered the largest religious structure in the world. It was created by a local king in the 1100s to celebrate vanquishing the Thais who had invaded his country. It was originally constructed as a Hindu temple and was gradually transformed over the first 100 years into a Buddhist temple. It was largely abandoned in the 1500s when the then king decided that was a little bit too close to the Thais and moved his capital further south. In the 1860s, it was rediscovered by a French explorer, and he popularized the site in the West through his travel logs that he published. France adopted Cambodia as a protectorate in 1863, partially due to the artistic legacy of Angkor Wat. My advisor started calling this my pilgrimage. Still a bit skeptical, I went with it, but a pilgrimage I would call it. When I got the final itinerary for our visit to Angkor Wat, I noticed it did not include a trip in the morning at sunrise. And I had seen this in other itineraries and heard that it was a very impactful experience. And here's where my inner voice said, do this. Don't settle for less. Do this. So I went and I asked if it would be possible to arrange a visit to Angkor Wat at sunrise. And they said they could do that. And I thought that was great. I was grateful. And so I got there with my guide that morning, and there were thousands of people. It was so crowded, and I said, is it always like this? And he looked at me and he said, it's the equinox. And it turns out that they had built the temple so that for 3 days each spring and each fall during the equinox, the sun would come up directly behind the main tower of the temple. It was amazing. It was magnificent. And I was so glad that I had listened to that inner voice and had this unbelievable experience. But my pilgrimage was not over. Back on the ship, I looked to see what I was scheduled for the next day, and it was a 2-hour bus ride into the city and a 2-hour bus ride out of the city, and this time my inner voice just said, no. No. I mean, more like a petulant little child. No. So I went down and asked what other options they had, and one of the other options they had was a shorter trip along the coastline to a fishing village and a place called the Sanctuary of Truth. Now, I thought that was a bit bold, a little audacious to be the Sanctuary of Truth, and they said this large wooden structure is what it was called. But I was intrigued by it and said, who has the audacity to call themselves the Sanctuary of Truth? So I signed up. I was totally unprepared for what I saw. Knowing that it was a wooden structure, I was expecting something medieval, and so was totally surprised to find out it's still under construction. The building itself is finished, and it is built entirely of wood, no nails. And what's under construction is that the hand-carved figurines that adorn the structure, both inside and out, are still being made and still being added to the structure. But what really fascinated me was the sanctuary's purpose and message. It was started by a local businessman in the 1980s with the idea of bringing together the Hindus, the Buddhists, and the Muslims to recognize we are all more alike than we are different. Paraphrasing his words, ideals make human life more meaningful, and striving to reach these ideals is desired by all people. Every belief, every religion, and every philosophy leads there by different paths. This sounded very UU to me, the concept of truth seekers, each on their own path to enlightenment. And the carvings are not merely decorative, they tell the story of the 7 truths. And by using carvings and symbols, the language is universal. The first truth is the concept of human equality. No matter how rich you are, where you come from, or which religion you believe in, we are all made of the same basic 4 elements: earth, wind, fire, and water. The second truth is our life cycle from birth to death depends on nature. We are born with unique personalities, but this truth elaborates the influence of nature on our life, regardless of our diverse backgrounds. The third truth is we are born to die. The only imprints we can leave for the world is our good or our bad deeds. The fourth truth illustrates the examples of great individuals who have left a profoundly positive impact on this world, and their passing does not diminish what they have done. Examples are Buddha, Confucius, and Lao Tzu, a person who symbolizes living in harmony with nature. The fifth truth is about exploring your journey to find your life's purpose, and they have some guidelines. Never become a friend with those who are roguish. The good one will lead us to good things in life. Give respect to those who deserve it. Be self-sufficient. Always seek knowledge. Apply knowledge and abilities to bring good outcomes. Take care of your family. The sixth truth describes the choices we face in how to be in society and encourages us to act in accordance with the virtuous side of society. Generosity versus selfishness. politeness and humility versus arrogance, respect versus disrespect, understanding and accepting difference versus discrimination, justice versus inequality, apology and forgiveness versus blame, gratitude versus lack of appreciation, harmony versus dissonance. The seventh truth speaks to the importance of family. Our family are our first teachers, our first school, and our first friends. As we grow, the meaning of family grows beyond our biological families to include the people we love and care for and where we feel safe. I felt these messages had the echoes of Unitarian Universalism, and I felt a great deal of kinship with the messages here. And I realized that the sanctuary had fulfilled its purpose, that we are more alike than we are different, regardless of our backgrounds. I was so grateful that I had listened to that inner voice that gave me the opportunity for this marvelous experience. But you do not need to go halfway around the world to listen to your inner voice. You can do this anywhere. I have found my most profound experiences have happened sitting at my kitchen table looking out the window. So I encourage all of you to think about your inner voice and your spiritual journey. If you're not sure of how to begin, we have some wonderful resources right here at 1U. There's Wellspring, there's covenant groups, there's meditation groups, and it's a way to get started. I hope your journey will be as enriching as mine. Please rise in body and spirit and join in singing our closing hymn. Today's closing words come from Richard Gilbert. Listen. Listen to what others have to say. There is wisdom in all who you meet. Listen to the sounds of nature. It speaks and sings and makes music for those who pay attention. Listen. Listen to the impulses of your spirit. Take time to hear your inner yearnings, that still, small voice drowned in the raucous shout. Listen, this is a noisy world. Perhaps this year we will listen. The call to action is actually maybe a call to inaction, but sit quietly or walk in nature and see if you can hear your inner self. And I hope what you find is as enriching and full of enlightenment as what I have. So please say these words with me as we extinguish this flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I thought maybe you had one.
I thought Mary Ann brought it over here last time. Well, why don't we walk out together and absolutely.